Do you see it now? The negative 30x plus a 4x.
Yeah, I thought you had to subtract the 4x, but
There's no equal sign. Yeah. I've had a couple of students do that. That's a really, really good question. And for those people that were talking and missed it, that was a very good point. Yes. A lot of students were trying to subtract 4x from both sides or from the x terms. There's no equal sign, so you don't need to do that. I'm going to come to your football game and I'm going to sit there and do this on the sidelines. You watch. Watch for me up there.
I'm in the mood.
Okay. Yeah, well, take a look at number 4A. Okay. So this is evaluate. They actually give us values for our variables, right? So I'm going to go ahead and put in parentheses where I have an x and a y. And then here's parentheses for this x and for this y. So let's see, our x is negative 2. So wherever my x is, here's an x. And here's an x. So that's negative 2. And my y is 3. So here's a y, 3. Here's a y, 3. Now, you can go ahead and do this manually. 8 times negative 2 squared is 4 minus 3 over negative 2 plus 3 squared is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. 8 times 4 is 32. So 32 minus 3 is 29. And negative 2 plus 27 is 25. Okay, so that's my answer, 29 over 25. Or you can use one of the class calculators that you grabbed when you came into the room checking the calculator assignment list to see which one's yours, and you squirt some sanitizer in your hand before you get the calculator. In other words, it'd be a good time to get the calculator. It's assigned to you, so you're going to have to find your name on the list. All right, so everybody got their calculators? All right, so looking at problem 4A, since I took the time to put parentheses in here, I'm going to go ahead and put it in my calculator and have my calculator do everything, okay? So the problem is I have to force the calculator to do the whole entire numerator and divide it by the whole entire denominator. So I need even more parentheses. This is the way you're going to have to put it in the calculator, otherwise you're going to get the wrong answer. Okay? I'm sorry, but you're just going to have to do it this way. Okay, so let's give it a shot. Parenthesis, 8, parenthesis, negative 2, parenthesis, raised squared, minus, parenthesis, 3, parenthesis, parenthesis, divided by, parenthesis, parenthesis, negative 2, parenthesis, plus 3, parenthesis, 3, parenthesis, squared, parenthesis. Hit your enter button. I get 1.16. Algebra 2, we don't really care for decimals all that much. So we're going to hit our math button and then enter, and I get my fraction.
Everybody got that math in there?
So either way you want to do this, if you want to do it manually in a couple of steps, or the calculator, your handy dandy calculator, make sure you put parentheses around the entire numerator and the entire denominator. Okay? Have we missing a lot of people or? All right. Looking at 4B, there's a typo. Okay. Here in the problem, we have A's, but the values are X's and Y's. So just change this to A and this one to B. So when you do that, substitute in those values. Also, on the word problem, this should have been deleted. And I would really like to blame Mrs. Abruzzo, but I can't because I stole this from her. And it wouldn't be kind. Well, you guys are missing all kinds of good jokes today. Next one I want to do is 6A because a lot of students have trouble with this. Word problem. Your team is setting up a computer program for a popular burger chain. At this store, if you make a single donation of $3, each burger costs 99 cents, but the first three burgers are free. Using C to represent the total cost, K to represent the number of burgers ordered. So they're actually doing a step for you. They're assigning variables for you. It says come up or create an algebraic model to calculate the customer's total bill. And then we have a disclaimer in there. Assume we only sell burgers today and everyone will order at least three. All right, so I'm going to do the verbal model first. Now, many of you are past this stage where you're going straight to the algebraic model. I'm going to go ahead and do the verbal model then. So the total cost here, it's going to be comprised of or equal to, let's see, we have a donation, right? Oh, don't start yawning yet. Plus, we got the cost of each burger, right? And then we're going to multiply that by the number of burgers that we ordered. But then we got that kicker in there, right? The first three are free. So when I multiply the number of burgers per, 99 cents, I got to get those three out of there. But not just three burgers, but I need the money for the three burgers, right? So I'm going to have to multiply both of these. I'm going to have to use a distributive property somewhere along the line. Okay. So now we can get our, they assigned they defined our variables for us, right? Let's see, C is going to represent the total cost, and then K represents the number of burgers. So this is our K. Now our algebraic model should be very easy, right? Let's see, total cost C equals my donation, which is $3, plus the cost of each burger. So plus the cost per burger, which is 99 cents. Parentheses. The number of burgers is K minus 3. So there's my algebraic model. Questions, comments, concerns? Okay. 1.4 was equations, right? You guys know how to solve equations. One of the equations that I want to go through. Now, some of you got cut off here. That was my printer or something's going on with my printer. So you're lucky enough you don't have to do those. Um, let me hang on a second. That's all right. We'll go back. I want to do number 10 because I think I told you this yesterday. Number 10 is a really difficult problem for students to do. And I think it's just because of the fractions. And when we're adding and subtracting fractions, you have to find the lowest common multiple, or what they used to call the lowest common denominator, right? Well, in Algebra 2, we call it the lowest common multiple. So I'm going to look at my biggest two, because I got four of them. I'm going to do half of them. I'm going to look at my biggest denominator is 10, and I'm going to write out some multiples of 10. Okay. Do you have a question, or are you just thinking? Good. I'd like to see people think. 10, 20, good. 30, 40, 50, 60, 1 on and on. All right. Now, the next biggest one is 5. So I'm going to go ahead 5, 10, 15, 20. Now, I see that there's something in common here, right? We got 20. They're in common multiples. So I'm going to go back here and look at I got 2 and 4. I'm going to check to see if they divide into evenly into 20. Well, 2 divide evenly into 20? Yeah. Does 4 divide evenly into 20? Yes. So my lowest common multiple for all four of them is 20. And then I'm going to multiply each term by 20. Good. Okay. Well, I'm going to put a little 20 up here. All right. You ready? 20 times 2 is 40. 40 divided by 5 is 8x minus 20 times 3, 60 divided by 2, 30. I almost put 15. 20 times 7, 140 divided by 4, 35x minus 20 times 3 is 60 divided by 10 is 6. And then just solve for x. All right. Now, I see a lot of students at this point getting kind of back into trying to eliminate steps here. I see a lot of students, well, I'm going to get rid of this 8x. I'm going to subtract 8x from both sides. That's going to go ahead and put my x's over here. In the same step, I'm going to bring my numbers over there. So I'm going to add 6 to both sides. Okay. Saves myself an awful lot of writing if you can do 2 steps at once. So I end up with, these cancel, negative 30 plus 6, negative 24, good. 35x minus 8x, 27x. And then divide both sides by 27. Now, check to make sure that this can simplify. And again, you could always use your calculator. Negative 24 divided by 27. decimal, math, enter, enter. Lo and behold, it can be reduced. X equals negative 8/9. Questions? Okay, I want to look at some of these solve for y's. I'm gonna set up a couple of these, and then 14 I'll actually solve. Okay. Here we're looking for b. I have a fraction here. I have to get rid of that denominator. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 3, right? So I have 3t equals, these 3's cancel, and I have 4b minus 7. Now this is actually a pretty simple problem from here, right? Add 7, then divide by 4. Your answer is going to be 3t plus 7 divided by 4. You guys can finish these steps in here. And then 13. I'm going to subtract 10 from both sides first. We're looking for big B. And I have them in two terms on opposite signs of the equal sign, right? So I'm going to get rid of the 10 or undo the minus 10. There's no constant term here. So I'm going to put it off to the side. I end up with 6b equals 2b plus 7y minus 10. And I want to get the b's on one side, so I'm going to subtract 2b, or not to be. 6b and 2b are like terms, aren't they? Yes, they are. So it would be 4b. So I'm going to subtract 2b from 6b. I get 4b equals 7y minus 10. And then divide both sides by that 4, right? 4's cancel. I get b equals 7y minus 10 divided by 4. Questions on that? One more.
Not the answer that you just said.
Nope, that one's the answer. Whenever I circle it, that's the answer. This one I kind of did halfway. You guys can finish that. All right, the last one I want to do, turn it over. 14a, I want to solve for a. Here I have a, again, on opposite sides of the equal sign, so I want to get it over to one side. So I'm going to subtract the 4a from both sides. Now these are unlike terms. So I'm going to offset this minus 4a so I don't make that mistake. I have b equals am minus 4a. Okay. Here's a problem. I have my a in two unlike terms. So this is that trick that I showed you guys the last couple days about, right? I'm going to divide out this a and make two terms into one term by undistributing it. All right? That wonderful mathematical term that's not a mathematical term. Undistribute. AM divided by A. Good. M minus 4A divided by A, 4. I have A times M minus 4. Now that I have one term separated by multiplication, I can now divide by what I don't want, which is this number, the quantity M minus 4. So my answer, B over M minus 4. Now I'm done. I could leave it like that, but it's always good to be in the habit of putting parentheses around that quantity. And there's my answer. Questions, comments, concerns? Did it help? Um, you guys have, what do we have? We have like 5 minutes. I would right now look on this review and see, hey, I'm a little rusty on this or I have trouble with this. Do it now within these 5 minutes while Mrs. Meyer is here or myself to get you some help, okay? Remember,